Shalom, welcome to another video, and as always, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahwadash, and next double honors to the head apostles / elder bishops of the Great Millstone, who teach and who rule well. Peace, blessings, and safety to all you sincere Akim. Keep pushing, keep believing, and keep the faith, regardless of whether people hear or whether they forbear. So this is going to be a back to the basics entitled "The Wicked Were Created for the Day of Evil, Not for Salvation." Alright, the wicked were created for the day of evil, not for salvation. Alright, so we're going to go into what that title means. Okay, Yahweh Righteous, I mean the Heavenly Father's will is edifying to the elect. So I got this precept pulled up, Proverbs 16:4. It says, Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Okay, so it means that Esau Edom, who is the wicked, okay, the descendants of Esau Edom, they were not created for good. They were not created for salvation. Okay, they were created to do evil, pretty much to punish the children of Israel when they go off. All right, let's get Psalms chapter 17 and verse 13. It says, Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So they are the sword of the Heavenly Father. Okay, a sword, it kills. All right, so they are the punishing instrument of the Heavenly Father against the children of Israel when they go off. Verse 14, here's a clue to who they are. It says, For men which are thy hand, O Yahweh, for men of the world, which have their portion in this life. Okay, so they prosper in riches. They have their portion in this life. They have their kingdom of heaven already. All right, that's the Emites. And whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. So they have plenty of wealth to pass down generation to generation. Okay, once again, this is a characteristic of the wicked, and they are the sword of the Heavenly Father. They are his left hand against the children of Israel when they go off. All right, let's go to Habakkuk chapter 1. Okay, and this is important to understand because, once again, they were not created for salvation. Okay, they were created as a whooping stick. All right, this is Habakkuk 1 and 12. All right, it says, matter of fact, I'm going to start up at verse 4 for context. Okay, Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4. All right, if I start at 3, it says, Why doest thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention. Okay, that's what they do. They cause conflict. They can't help but to steal, to kill, to destroy, to hurt people. All right, that's in their nature. That's what they're created for. It says, Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth. For the wicked doeth compass about the righteous. Why? Because Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. They're ruling over the earth right now. Therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. That's why there's so much injustice, all right, in this society. I'm going to skip down to verse 12. It says, Art thou not from everlasting, O Yahweh, my power, mine holy one? We shall not die, O Yahweh. Thou hast ordained them for judgment. Okay, meaning he set them up for the purpose of judgment. And, O mighty power, thou hast established them for correction. That's their whole purpose. They're not here for anything else but to bring correction to the children of Israel when they go off. All right, whenever we do things that are wicked, he sends his punishment stick. Okay, he sends Esau Edom, the so-called white man, okay, to punish wicked Israelites. That's the reason why, like, for example, the police, okay, police brutality, etc., etc. Okay, the Lord sends the police out against wicked Israel. Let's get a New Testament precept on that as well. All right, these Roman centurions. This is Romans chapter 13 and verse 1. All right, it says, Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High, and the powers that be are ordained of the Most High. And whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Okay, and talking about police. All right, now of course they abuse their authority, etc., etc. But the people, even then, the people that they go against, all right, they're not innocent. Okay, like George Floyd, all right, okay, Michael Gray, etc., etc. Different Jakes that have gotten deleted. All right, they weren't serving the Lord, and that's the thing about it. A lot of Jakes don't realize that just because, pretty much, you think that you're a good person, but if you're not serving the Lord, then in His eyes, you're considered wicked. Okay, and you're liable for anything to happen to you pretty much at any time. That's the scary thing about it. And like I said, really the thing about it, nobody knows what they were doing before, and nobody knows what they did in their past lives to receive different judgments. But once again, okay, these Edomites, all right, they're established for correction. Okay, and as long as you do what you're supposed to do, not so much in this society, but pertaining to serving the Lord, you have nothing to worry about. All right, this is Psalms 125:3. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands into iniquity. Okay, so now that we've established that Esau was not created for the purpose of doing good, okay, his whole purpose is to destroy. His whole purpose is for punishment. That's what he was set up to do. All right, so it tells you, we're going to go to Isaiah the 10th chapter. It's going to tell you that after Yahweh Bashmi Shai is done punishing Jacob, okay, then he's going to do away with these Edomites. All right, let's go to the NLT, Isaiah the 10th chapter, and I'm going to start down at verse 5. Okay, and it says, judgment against Assyria. All right, and that is now the Assyrians, the actual Assyrians, did oppress, okay, the children of Israel, the northern kingdom, at once upon a time. But as we read through the rest of this chapter, you're going to see that this is talking about end time prophecy, and it's using Assyria as a code name for the modern day oppressor, which is the Edomites. Okay, so this is Isaiah 10:5 in the NLT. It says, what sorrow awaits Assyria, the rod of mine anger? I use it as a club to express my anger. Okay, just like we said. All right, they're the left hand of the Heavenly Father. All right, a club is something that you beat someone with, so a rod of correction. I am sending Assyria against a godless nation, against the people with whom I am angry. Assyria will plunder them, trampling them like dirt beneath his feet. Okay, and that's what the modern day oppressor did to the children of Israel, and continues to do to this day. But the king of Assyria will not understand that he is my tool. Okay, so these Edomites, they think that, they don't realize that they were set up for the purpose of punishing. Okay, but the Lord is going to do away with him at the end. His mind does not work that way. His plan is simply to destroy, to cut down nation after nation. He will say, each of my princes will soon be a king. We destroyed Calno, just as we did Carchemish. Hamath fell before us as Arpad did, and we destroyed Samaria just as we did Damascus. And we have finished off many a kingdom whose gods were greater than those in Jerusalem and Samaria. So we will defeat Jerusalem and her gods, just as we destroyed Samaria with hers. After the Lord has used the king of Assyria to accomplish his purposes on Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, he would turn against the king of Assyria and punish him, for he is proud and arrogant. Okay, so after the children of Israel receive their correction, he's going to turn against the oppressor, the Edomites. It says, he boasts, by my own powerful arm have I done this. With my own shrewd wisdom I planned it. I have broken down the defenses of nations and carried off the treasures. I have knocked down their kings like a bull. Okay, that's the mindset of the That's his inner thoughts. Look how great I am. I did all this myself. No, the Heavenly Father gave you power and established you to do these things, and now he's getting ready to do away with you. It says, I have robbed their nest of riches and gathered up kingdoms as a farmer gathers eggs. No one can even flap a wing against me or utter a peep of protest. But can the axe boast greater power than the person who uses it? Is the saw greater than the person who saws? Can a rod strike unless a hand moves it? Can a wooden cane walk by itself? In other words, okay, would you be able to do these things unless I gave you power to do so? Therefore, the power of heaven's armies will send a plague among Assyria's proud troops, and a flaming fire will consume its glory. Yahweh, the light of Jacob, will be a fire, the Holy One will be a flame, and he will devour the thorns and briars with fire, burning up the enemy in a single night. Okay, this is how you start to see this is going into end time prophecy. Okay, because why? Who else is prophesied of to be destroyed in one single day? All right, Esau, Edom, and his kingdom of Babylon the Great. So Assyria is just a code word, all right, for the oppressor. Okay, the common oppressor, which today is the Edomites. He's going to burn their kingdom up in one single night, and really in one single hour, by way of ICBM nuclear missiles. All right, it says, Yahweh will consume Assyria's glory like a fire consumes a forest in a fruitful land. It will waste away like sick people in a plague. Of all that glorious forest, only a few trees will survive, so few that a child can count them. All right, so most of the Edomites are going to die, except for really the elites that have money to be able to hide in these different bunkers they're scattered around the world. Okay, and then they're going to go into slavery. It says, the next portion, hope for the Lord's people. In that day, the remnant left in Israel, the survivors in the house of Jacob, will no longer depend on allies who seek to destroy them, but they will faithfully trust Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel. I'm going to read that in the KJV. I just like it better in that translation. All right, in the KJV it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped to the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. This is another precept how you know this is talking about end time prophecy, because Jacob is not amongst the Heavenly Father right now. Jacob is still in the captivity and presence of the enemies, which are the Edomites. Okay, so once again, this is the end time prophecy. He's gonna after he accomplishes his mission, he's gonna do away with the sword, with these devils. A remnant will return. Yes, the remnant of Jacob will return to the mighty God. But though the people of Israel are as numerous as the sand of the seashore, only a remnant of them will return. Yahweh has rightly decided to destroy his people, so he's going to kill most of the Israelites, and he's going to use Esau to do it. But after his purpose is accomplished, he's going to do away with the Edomites completely. All right, they're going to be some of them left to survive, to go into slavery. They'll be in hardcore bondage for 1,000 years, rebuilding the earth, and then they're going to be completely done away with, thrown into one big pit, and burned in the fire. Okay, continuing on, verse 24. So this is what Yahweh, the power of heaven's army, says. O my people in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrians when they oppress you with the rod and club, as the Egyptians did long ago. In a little while my anger against you will end, and then my anger will rise up to destroy them. The Lord of heaven's armies will lash them with his whip, as he did with Gideon, and triumphed over the Midianites at the rock of Oreb, or when Yahweh's staff was raised to drown the Egyptian army in the sea. In other words, he's going to raise up spiritual power and leaders to judge these Edomites, and they're going to go into perdition, destruction. And in that day, Yahweh will end the bondage of his people. He will break the yoke of slavery and lift it off from their shoulders. Look, the Assyrians are now at Aith. They are passing through Migron and are storing their equipment at Bigmash. They are crossing the pass and are camping at Geba. Fear strikes the town of Ramah. All the people of Gibeah, the hometown of Saul, are running for their lives. Scream in terror, you people of Galim. Shout out a warning to Lasha, O poor Anathoth. There go the people of Madmanah, all fleeing. The citizens of Garbim are trying to hide. The enemy stops at Nob for the rest of that day. He shakes his fist at beautiful Mount Zion, the mountain of Jerusalem. So it's saying he's going to come after our people. One final stand, and that's exactly what's happening. Okay, he's coming at this for, that's why it says Revelation 12:12, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So Yahweh is using his sword one last time against the rebellious of our people, and then after that he's gonna do away with Esau altogether. All right, it says, but look, Yahweh, the power of heaven's armies, will chop down the mighty tree of Assyria with great power. He will cut down the proud. That lofty tree will be brought down. He will cut down the forest trees with an axe, and Lebanon will fall to the mighty one. Okay, so he's gonna take down these Edomites. Okay, their tree, their branch shall be cut off. Okay, so that's the end of them. And once again, this shows you, okay, I started off showing you that they're created for the purpose of punishing wicked Israelites. And then once the Lord is done using them, all right, then he's going to do that. He's going to abuse them. Right now he's using them and he's getting ready to abuse them. He's getting ready to take them down and destroy them completely. And they're going to see just how worthless they really are. So that's it. Okay, I'm gonna close it out there. Heavenly Father's will is edifying. As always, all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rach, and until next time, Shalom, and abide the ball.